Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Rundown, where we talk about 2A news and conservative views. I will be your host today, Craig DeLuz, coming at you from the West Coast, the left coast, behind the Iron Curtain, otherwise known as the Sierras. But as we all know, I do not do this program by myself.
That's right. My name is Mike Piroworski, coming to you live from the East Coast. That's the coast with the most, from the co-host with the most. Craig, do you know what today is?
Oh, yes, I do. It's Taco Tuesday.
It's raining tacos from out of the sky. Tacos, no need to ask why. Just open your mouth and close your eyes. It's raining tacos.
It's raining tacos out in the street. Tacos, all you can eat. Lettuce and shells, cheese and meat. It's raining tacos. Yum, 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 yummity yum. It's like a treat.
Gotta
Craig,
love
I
Taco
love
Tuesday.
this song. We forgot to play that yesterday because today's actually not Tuesday.
Who told
Gotcha.
you? Oh, you got me. I was like, wait a minute, hold on. I know my calendar days of the week usually gets screwed up during the holidays. But I was like, I'm pretty sure it's Taco Tuesday.
I was trying to see, because mine is all screwed up as well. I'm sitting here today and I'm like, what day of the week is it? You know, and so I wanted to see if your days were as screwed as mine. Welcome to Tuesday, folks.
Welcome to Tuesday. Well, as you know, as Mike and I we were talking in the pre-show, we were just talking about how so much of our schedules are just and our things are tied up in our spouses, and so when their schedule is different or off, I can't speak for anybody else, but I know it messes up my schedule.
Yes, yeah, absolutely. Yeah, my for me, it's the morning start time because if she goes in late and she's going in late this week, it's like just get out of the way, get out of the way, get out of the way.
Yeah, especially you kind of develop this dance like, okay, I'm in the bathroom when when you're asleep, and you're in the bathroom when I'm working, and it all kind of works. And then when it meshes, like for me, it's I get up early in the morning, I do get some work done, yada yada yada. I drop my wife off at work, and then I go to the gym. Well, if my wife doesn't have to go to work, chances greatly decrease that I'm actually going to make it to the gym because I'm not actually already out. Anyway, and then just once again screws up my whole day. And then if I do, it's usually later in the day.
Yes, yeah. Listen, much the same here. I don't have to take my wife to work though. She drives herself to work. Not sure how she gets there every day, but she drives herself to work. And then I also hit the gym. Wait, at the bar. I hit the bar.
bar, gym. Same difference. Same difference.
Well, there's a bar rail.
Yes.
There.
There is a bar. There are bars at the gym, by the way, just so you know.
Right.
You just, it's just not quite as fun. It's healthier, but not quite as fun.
Yeah. And the day bartender here is named Jim, so it's kind of confusing.
Well, there you go. There you go. Yeah. Enough said. That's all you need. Just go to the bar and take care of the gym at the same time.
Nothing beats day drinking except day drinking at work, Craig.
Ain't that the truth? Ain't that the truth? All right, Mikey, go ahead and give a shout out to our sponsors.
Let's say hi to our good friends over there at Hitman Industries. That's hitmanindustries.net, hitmanindustries.net. If you got yourself an AR in the past 5 years, probably got one of their barrels, don't even know it. And now you can buy direct from the manufacturer, get yourself a new barrel for your next build, or rebarrel your current AR platform. The California Republican Assembly fighting the good fight behind enemy lines. Get involved in California's future today. That's California Republican Assembly. And if you want some awesome field gear, some tactical gear, web gear, hunting gear, hiking gear, whatever it happens to be, all your outdoor gear that you need, go to uscombatgear.com. And of course, you want some holsters, some great holsters, tactical holsters, inside the waistband, concealment holsters. Go to hawgholsters.com. That's HAWG holsters.com. That's helping Americans wear guns. HAWG holsters.com. And use the discount code The Rundown. All caps, no spaces, one word.
That's right, folks. These are our sponsors. They bring us to you so that we'll bring you to them. So do us a favor. Do yourself a favor if you really like the show. Visit them. Follow the links in the description to this program. Check them out. Spend some money with them and make sure that you tell them that the guys over at The Rundown sent you.
That's us.
All right. We've been talking about, January 6th committee has been something that we've been talking about for a while. But getting away from that, there's something else that's going to be going on, and I think it's part of the January 6th committee, and that has to do with Donald Trump's tax returns. Now, you know that the Supreme Court recently rejected a request by the former president to not have to turn over his tax returns to a congressional committee. And the thing that he argued, quite frankly, was that you can't trust the folks in these congressional committees because somehow information that's supposed to be top secret, that's supposed to be secret, that's not supposed to be made available to the public. Well, when these committees are run by Democrats, that information almost always tends to make it to the public. But this time, and what's funny about this time is, this time, they're not even pretending like, oh my gosh, it's going to be a secret leak. No, they're not even going to pretend about a secret leak. They're actually going to debate whether or not they are going to release Donald Trump's tax returns. That's right. Imagine this. Imagine you run for office, right? And your tax returns are released to the public. In other words, this is supposed to be private financial information. And now what Congress is saying is, yeah, we hate Donald Trump so much. We are going to end his right to privacy when it comes to his tax returns. He no longer has a choice whether or not he wants to have those released. We're going to release those whether he wants them released or not. Mike, I gotta believe that this is going to open up the door to a lot of different things. First of all, I think the Supreme Court is going to see this happen, and then they are going to, from now on, just say, yeah, no, when Congress, when you request, then you say and you try to demand that you want someone's tax returns, we cannot trust you with this information.
Yeah, again, just shooting more cans of spinach at Popeye here. They're just going to make this guy stronger again, as he's on a little bit of a downturn in the ratings the past week or two. This is clearly, intended criminal activity is what Congress is doing here. They're going to release the man's individual tax returns for the past 6 years. Folks, just to be clear, there is no requirement at all for the president to turn over his tax returns. No requirement at all for a candidate to turn over his tax returns. That's something that they've done for a number of years since World War II, but it's not a mandatory thing. So when a president says my finances are my personal business, guess what? They are, and there's no requirement. And Congress is trying to force that issue because he didn't want to play their game. So now trying to come at him through the back door to get his tax returns released.
The thing is this is nothing more. It is literally malicious prosecution. This is political prosecution at its worst. Yep. Donald Trump could have done all of this. Republicans and Donald Trump could have done all of this to the Clintons, to the Obamas, once he won. And he didn't. In fact, after everybody was chanting, lock her up, he made absolutely no serious attempts to try and do any investigations or anything because he recognized that for the good of the country, or at least he believed that for the good of the country, it's better if we don't continue with political prosecutions. Well, here it is. Democrats are demonstrating that they do not have that moral sensibility. And I think I believe in the end, it's going to come back to bite them in the butt because in a very, very short period of time, Republicans will be in control of the House. They will have the investigative power. And they now have set a precedent as to what information should be released. And I can tell you right now, the big guy is going to be in for it.
Yeah, listen, you're exactly right. The former President Trump chose to not go after Clinton and all of those people there. But you quoted it perfectly, Greg, for the good of the country, to let things stand. Much the same way as we did after the Civil War, when the North did not go after the politicians in the South, those that organized the secession and war against Northern aggression, as they called it. Chose to not go after it and let the country heal. And then Biden takes office, and look what the Congress is doing. I guarantee you, Craig, guarantee, put it down on the calendars, folks. So I give you whatever odds you want. That come January 3rd, January 4th, once the new Congress is seated, that the big guy and his family will be under investigation. And it'll be an investigation of a sitting president for criminal enterprise.
Well, and you know the Department of Justice isn't going to do anything about it, but it is going to bring to light a lot of the things that the media has been trying to cover up, and so that's the one thing that we will see going into the 2024 election is there will be a lot more information made available to the public between the release of the Twitter files and congressional investigations. There's going to be a lot of uncovering of what the left has been doing. And Mike, by the way, just on a separate side note, kind of a little bit of a rabbit hole, you were talking about the South and how they did not go after the politicians or the generals or whatnot who led the secession. A lot of those generals, and one of the reasons why like Robert E. Lee is honored even today is because after the Civil War, many of them went out of their way to say we are one nation, to adopt the laws, the customs, and to be basically to reconcile, as opposed to being bitter losers. They recognize the importance of becoming one nation again. I was reading a book that talked about that, and you skimmed right by it. I figured, hey, there's an opportunity for me to drop that little bit of
Craig,
knowledge.
That was for a couple of reasons. One was that listen, the generals had seen the death on the battlefield and did not want to have that start up again. And two, the deal made to them by the North was you can never hold military office. You can never hold public office ever again. We'll let you continue. In fact, the North, the United States, funded their pensions that they were guaranteed so they could afford to go home and not ever hold office again. So it was a great deal during the Reconstruction there. Craig, the other thing I want to add is the difference between what the Congress has been doing now to President Trump and what's going to happen come January to President Biden is that the Republican House of Representatives will be able to impeach Biden's criminal butt over and over and over again.
Yes, they will. Needless to say, I doubt there will be a conviction in the Senate, but hey, does that really matter at this point?
Nope.
He's almost out. All righty, moving right along. This next one was an interesting one because I have a lot of friends who are Catholic. I grew up Catholic. And the Catholic Church historically has largely been about protecting an innocent life, in particular about protecting innocent life in the womb. In fact, as I've been involved in the pro-life community, there are few entities, international or national entities, that are more involved in protecting innocent life than is the Catholic Church. But it appears that even in that vein, that some folks in their eyes in the Catholic Church can go too far. Because, by the way, just so you know, there are many in the Catholic Church who do not believe in being pro-life. In fact, they are openly socialist, to be quite honest. They openly, while they may say, well, I don't support the idea of an abortion, abortion should be legal. In other words, they are very pro-abortion. Even though they are Catholic, they tend to focus on taking from the rich and giving to the poor, which, by the way, is not a Catholic principle, or at least not a Christian principle at all. But there's a great division, quite frankly, as there is even in the Protestant Church. But in the Catholic Church, there's a group called Priests for Life, and it's headed by a gentleman named Frank Pavone. He has been the director of this organization since the 1990s. He is very vocal about being pro-life and was a big supporter of President Donald Trump because he was, and quite frankly still, at least in modern history where abortion is an issue, has been and is the most pro-life president we have ever had. Now, I don't know about his background and his past and his positions on abortion, but I know that while he was president, he did more to support innocent life than did any president or all the presidents before him put together. And that, by the way, that's up to and including his appointments to the Supreme Court. Well, Mr. Pavone, I don't know if it's Pavone or Pavone, but he has been defrocked. He has been removed as a priest. He is no longer a priest within the Catholic Church because they say that, he has done some blasphemous things In part, one of those things is doing a campaign video supporting President Donald Trump.
Yeah, this was personally done also by Pope Francis, and I would just tell him to lighten up, Francis. All right, you got a guy here that you're basically going after because of politics is what it is. You don't agree with Donald Trump's or the conservative agenda, like you said, Craig. Most of them socialists to begin with. Now remember, Pope Francis is Jorge Mario Bergoglio. He's Argentinian, and that's where he's from. So, from
which means he's a socialist.
South American, grew up with the socialist government down there. Even though they are Catholics, abortion down there is a part of life to keep their population a little bit under control. This is a personal issue. This has nothing to do with this priest's pro-life stance, folks. The Catholic Church is pro-life. All right. Like Craig said, they're about protecting the child in the womb. Yet Pope Francis wants to use that as the reason for defrocking this priest. I'm sorry. Don't buy it. This is purely a political issue. And now that the Pope is becoming is having the Vatican become a political entity rather than a religious entity, you're going to see the further downfall of the Catholic Church is what's going to happen. I mean, they've been in decline for centuries now, but just when you thought they were over the weenie touching hiney poking priests, they are now going to go into the political realm, and they're going to feel it.
Folks, here's the thing. I've never been one to, I always think you always have to be careful, as a Christian talking about a Christian leader. I always believe that you ought to be careful about, how you ascribe them or how you describe them or the words you use. You always have to be careful. But I would just tell folks this: take a look at the things that he says and the things that he does, and compare them to what the Bible or the word, quote unquote, Word of God says. And I think you will find a number of inconsistencies. And that is a problem. That would be a problem for me. I personally could not follow a leader a spiritual leader who guided me away from the values set forth by that faith. To me, that would be a problem. And I think for many in the Catholic Church, it is a problem. But folks, you just need to understand that, look, the good thing about religion is this, is that I'm not loyal to a man who leads my church. I'm loyal to God who leads my church. And as long as my values are consistent with his, I could give a hoot what a priest or a pastor is saying or doing. And I'm not going to follow them down a road that, according to his word, is going to lead to hell. Just saying.
Yeah, agreed. I don't know how much more we go into that. It's like I said, this is clearly not a religious issue for the Pope. This is a political issue, and that's a dangerous slope for him to be walking along.
Well, the one thing I will say is that Father Provolone is prone to hyperbole, much the way President Trump is, and some people do not see that as being seemly for a priest. But having said that, he did all of this on his own time, on his own dime, not on church property or on church payroll. And at a certain point, now I think what in fact has done is he is still going to be a faith leader within the Catholic Church. The defrocking will just simply, removing of the collar will mean the removing of the leash.
Yeah. Agreed. Hopefully he gets to it. I believe he's in the Charleston area, if I recall correctly. This is the think folks about history. Think about the Dark Ages, Middle Ages here in Europe, or not here, but in Europe, and what the Catholic Church did when they tried to get involved in politics. And Craig, it's as if they forgot. Give unto Caesar what is Caesar's. He should not be involved in this at all.
No, I once again completely agree with you. All right, here's another one I think we're going to agree on. The NRA played a huge role in the support in the passage of Bruin. And what's going to be interesting now is that in the state of New York, there's a New York lawmaker that actually is seeking to punish them for their success, for the success that they've had in Bruen. Or let's just put it this way: whether or not they had any part in Bruen, we know that everything pro-gun, everything that is done in the gun rights community that the left hates, the NRA is going to both get credit and or blame for. So we know that, but. So there's basically going to be a new law there in New York, which would actually remove NRA from the list of organizations that can certify firearms trainers. So in other words, the organization that has certified probably more firearms trainers than any other single organization in the entire country, and by the way, also in the state of New York, is going to basically have that certification removed. So if you are a NRA certified instructor, according to this legislation that they are pushing, that certification would mean absolutely nothing in the state of New York in terms of being a firearm trainer.
Yeah, just like Craig said, listen, folks, they are the largest certifiers of instructors, and that's because whether you know it or not, NRA is the largest certifying organization for trainers in the country. It's a national organization. They've been at it for since 1863, 64. They've been pushing firearm safety, and they are the ones. And the reason they're bringing this up is because in New York, they are saying that in order to get the new carry permits or purchase permits there, you have to have your safety course taken by certified instructors. Well, they want all those certified instructors to be with the state police or the local police there, not the NRA. They don't want the NRA involved in their reinterpretation of Bruen and their outright bastardization of the case law.
Right. Now, keep in mind, the legislative involvement or political involvement of the NRA is actually, in its overall history, relatively new. I mean, we're talking 1970s, 1960s. From its inset, from its beginning, it started as a way in which to provide firearms for and train newly freed slaves in the South, train them on how to utilize the firearms to protect themselves. And so firearms training and marksmanship and firearm safety is at the core of who the NRA is. It's the foundation of who they are. And what's interesting is that that's the arm that they are attacking, not the political end. This does, by the way, absolutely nothing to the advocacy end of the NRA, which is, by the way, the folks that they hate so much. This is just going after the people who are providing firearms training and firearm safety that are keeping people safe. So anyway, I just think it's almost like they're spiting off they say they're about firearm safety, yet they're trying to lop off the firearm safety arm of the NRA.
Well, again, they want to be the ones in control of who gets certified. That way they can tell them yes or no, you didn't pass a class, unlike what the NRA has been doing since their inception. And it's actually 1871 that NRA was founded. They are, again, whether you know this or not, folks, they are the nation's oldest civil rights organization.
Yes, they are. Because, by the way, just so you know, civil rights are not special rights for special people. It's rights that are due to all of us citizens, and chief among those are the ones enumerated in our Constitution, which includes the Bill of Rights. Number 2 on the Bill of Rights is the right to keep and bear arms, just in case you didn't know. Yep. I'm assuming if you watch this, you know, but now you know.
That's it.
And that's why you have, in many cases, this other story that's actually, the New York Times is trying to make it sound very negative, but it's actually very, very positive. And that is that the JROTC, right, or ROTC, the Junior ROTC, which is a training program for individuals. It's a leadership and training program for individuals who are interested in the military. They are actually, when you have in JROTC, they are actually making deals with the NRA. If the NRA will support them, sponsor their classes, sponsor their marksmanship training through training and ammunition and financial contributions, that they will promote the NRA with amongst their members once again, and that includes, amongst the program members, and that includes at public schools. Now, mind you, they're not promoting the advocacy, they're not promoting the legislation, even though the left very much does that with anti-gun groups. Right? They do that a lot with anti-gun groups, but they're not advocating that. All they're doing is talking about, look, this is where you can go become a part of this entity because you be involved in firearms training. You can be involved in firearms safety, receive training and stuff like that. Anyway, I just thought what the New York Times, Mike, tried to paint as a negative actually demonstrates a positive.
Yeah, this is just, again, New York, and I'm sure, listen, the legislators there are behind this little attack against the junior ROTC. This is their, like I said, multi-pronged attack against the NRA. The JROTC, let's see, the Sea Cadets, Young Marines, Civil Air Patrol, it doesn't matter what they are, have always used the NRA, for the firearms safety training. This is not firearms training. None of these organizations go out and take up arms and practice shooting against silhouettes or targets of people. It's not what they do. This is youth firearm safety. In fact, the NRA now, I think it's what's Eddie the Eagle is the current program they use. All this is doing is teaching individuals firearm safety. Stop making marksmen out of them. I mean, you can become one, but the goal is here not to go out and create, a 14-year-old, young soldiers that can shoot and kill. That has nothing to do with it. It's firearm safety, and they let the NRA handle all of that because, again, nation's oldest civil rights organization, nation's longest firearm safety training program, firearm youth safety training program. They are the best qualified at it, and a national organization, and this can happen in any location around the country for any of those young youth paramilitary organizations.
Right. And well, in this case, what they're specifically talking about are sponsorships of their march. They are talking about getting the NRA to sponsor their marksmanship programs, because they do have marksmanship programs in these JROTC, many of these JROTC programs.
Correct. I want to be clear on that. They call it the marksmanship program. It is a firearm safety program, which culminates with shooting, and then they can grade them if they want to become marksmen. This is not setting out to teach them to be marksmen. This sets out to teach them safety, and then the end result of that is that they can accurately shoot a firearm without putting a bullet in their foot, that kind of thing.
Thank you. I appreciate that clarification. That's really helpful, because I'm sure a lot of people aren't aware of the distinction and how the program actually works. To be honest, if they were teaching the marksmanship, I wouldn't mind.
No, it's an elective thing. Listen, even in the public schools where they have the junior ROTC, this is an elective thing. And many, the majority of these kids don't go to the military. It's just something that, appeals to them. It's it's an organization, it's leadership skills. It's a lot of great stuff that junior ROTC does to give to our kids today what the schools don't give anymore.
Right. Discipline.
Exactly.
All right. Mike, it's about that time. It's time for our parting shots, brought to you by Hog Hosters. That's hoghosters.com. All you got to do is follow the link in the description of this program, and make sure when you buy your holster to use the Rundown as your discount code. All caps, no spaces. Get your Hog Holster today. All right, let's see. Our first one, well, I'm going to use all of these memes that I can find that are funny, simply because, well, the story will eventually fade into the past, but I'm hoping not anytime soon. And that has to do with the Twitter files. And this particular one, where you got the Twitter files, it's got a photo of some folks in bed. You've got Hunter on his laptop. You've got the big guy laying in bed next to him. We all know who the big guy is. You've got the donkey, which is representative of the Democratic Party, who's got his arm around Twitter, the Twitter bird. You've got the FBI sitting there smoking with the glasses on, the FBI hat and the earpiece. And then on the very opposite end, you have there, it says, you have a member of the media speaking in the microphone saying, this is not what it looks like. I cannot think of a better representation. I mean, that pretty much sums up the whole Twitter file, Twittergate scenario. I can't think of a thing that sums it up better. No? Yes? Maybe, Mike? You found one better? Okay. All right. We'll tell you what. We'll move on. We'll go ahead and we'll move on to the next item. Now, this next one kind of has something to do with the last one. This one has to do with Christmas. So here we go. All right. So here you got a picture of Santa. He is looking at a list, and it looks like he's on the cell phone with somebody. It says, "Me. What list am I on, Santa?" And Santa replies, "Well, I've been looking at the memes you've been posting, so probably DHS, NSA, and the FBI." Those sound like some not so good lists, but good lists to be on. What do you think, Mike?
Well, those are good lists if you're on it as viewed by the Democrats, right? For you posting your memes, right? Craig, I'm surprised that this picture doesn't have one of those. This contains false information, screenings on it.
Well, yeah, according to if you're posting, because by the way, they did, if you read the Twitter files, they did get into the conversation about fact-checking memes. I'm like, really? Why are we only by the way, why are we only fact-checking conservative memes?
It's weird, right? It's strange the way that works. Yeah.
But you know what, Mike, I will tell you this. Just in case you do wind up on one of those lists, there's always a fallback for you. And that is, as this young man who is sitting on Santa's lap says, I identify as nice.
There you go. Good for you.
There you go. So you don't actually have to be nice. You can be naughty. As long as you identify as nice, all is good. And now,
that's how you do it.
We have one more. This, I think, appears to be a friend of yours who seemed to have some success out deer hunting this Christmas season. I thought deer season was over. No?
No, that was for deer, not for reindeer. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, this gentleman was successful in getting some reindeer. You want to describe this one for the folks who are listening?
Yeah, there's a proud hunter standing there with his kill. It says a big morning, one shot with his .243 rifle. He got 100 yards out. It was 5 a.m. in the neighbor's yard. He got a 6.16 pound deer plus 100 lights that go with it.
For those of you wondering, he's got one of those Christmas light reindeers. He's holding up as if he had hunted and killed it.
Yep. That was pretty lean. Not a lot of fat on that one. Yeah.
Not a lot of fat on. Definitely not a lot of fat on that one.
No.
All right, Mike. It's about that time. Let's give that shout out to our sponsors.
Yeah, let's say hey to our good friends at Hitman Industries. That's hitmanindustries.net. Rifle and pistol caliber barrels, rifle and pistol length barrels available for you at hitmanindustries.net. California Republican Assembly, fighting the good fight behind enemy lines. Get involved with California's future today, California Republican Assembly. And, of course, you want some hunting gear, just like we saw there in the last parting shot, some field gear, tactical gear. Go to uscombatgear.com. And, of course, you want to get you some nice new holsters for the new year, some concealed holsters, some nice tactical holsters. Go to see our friends at hogholsters.com. That's HAWG holsters.com. Use the discount code, The Rundown, all one word, all caps, no spaces.
That's it, folks. Thank you so much for tuning in. Thank you so much for liking and sharing the program and encouraging your friends to do the same. We will see you tomorrow on Hump Day. You have a good evening.